Hi and welcome to Career Counseling Online Morning Vibe Session. This is Sanjay here and hoping you guys are all doing fantastic, safe and sound at home. Well, lovely climate outside and it doesn't feel like that hot, humid June anymore. Um, it's good enough. It's good enough. So I'm glad that you guys are doing safe at your home. Uh, I work so hard and yet I get noticed. My work is always ignored or my hard work is never being recognized. Now, this is such a common statement that we keep on hearing with 70% of the population, working population, being uh, feeling disengaged and unproductive in their work. These statements are so very common, irrespective of the fields that people are working with. A lot of time we even hear our members at home stating that, our family members sometimes stating that, like my hard work is never recognized. Now, see, the first thing is being active doesn't mean you're very productive. Many a times we are busy throughout the day, running here and there, working on various things, and we personally believe that a lot have been done, a lot of effort has been put from our side. But the main thing is, many a times we find that hardly is getting noticed. It's because all the hard work that we have done throughout the day, no matter even we have taught ourselves to be very active, they're very contributive. But the thing is, the whole activeness or the whole work throughout the day did not boil to something productive. See, when you are a manager or when you are leading a team, uh, the main thing is I keep on telling to professionals, see, if you are working hard and if you're completing the projects, so many a times what happens is the managers, the project handlers or the team leads, they start a project and in the mid of the way they lose a track of what was needed of them and the kind of drive that was needed. And many a times what happens is the project keeps them busy. They are seen working on it, preparing report, taking conducting meetings and so on. And irrespective of everything, finally the project fails. Now when that happens, this things pops up into my mind, like all my effort which I didn't get recognized. Now the thing is, it's very easy to start a project, it is very easy to be a part of a project, but the main thing what matters is, are you delivering the very best to the to the context where the project is impacting, the revenue is impacting positively, and is the project completed? Many a times project heads face a problem with the projects not meeting the deadline, projects failing because of escalations coming up and so on. So why does these things happen, and why do professionals feel that when they are putting genuinely so much of hard work, they still gets ignored, their hard work is still being unlooked? So the main thing is, I have found out over my work experience that, see, the main thing which happens when one person says that I am very active and my hard work, I literally work very hard and yet it is not recognized, is the main thing is the person is working very hard. There is no doubt about it. The person is putting a lot of effort. There is no doubt about it. I mean, we are not questioning a person's efficiency or initiation or the intention in the mind. But the main thing is this work is in multi-direction and not in a focused way. Not in a focused way, right? So majorly what is happening is your effort is getting sprinkled all around, but what was needed was projected jet of effort in one direction. So how can that be done by leaders, by employees, by subordinates, by team members, by anybody? Like, whenever we are putting up an effort, how do we ensure that our effort is recognized? How do we ensure that our effort is impactful? And how do we ensure that the kind of effort that we are putting is creating a positive impact either in our personal life or our family life or the business or the organization as a whole? See, the main criteria behind it is, like yesterday I spoke about the importance of planning, strategizing, and executing. See, here again, many a times the effort gets unnoticed, the effort gets or fails to get that result which was expected from them because the goal setting was not done correctly. See, goal setting is the procedure in which we try to understand what needs to be done. Like many a times the projects are working on multiple projects, many a times the person is working on multiple projects, so it is but very human to get confused in between the kind of goal that one project has and the other project has, because in multiple project handling, many a times the projects differ in kind of impact, in kind of business importance, in kind of the priority also. So when you are an employee, when you are a team member, when you are a team leader, manager, or the director, what is needed is, first is the goal setting. We always encourage people to go for the goal setting in a smart way, the smart goals. You remember what we meant by the smart goals? Goals which are specific, measurable, attainable, right? You remember, specific, measurable, attainable, receptive, and time bound, right? So smart goals are those goals. If we break it down to a simpler sense, it's like those are the goals which are the common intersecting goals. See, the organization will have a set of goals in terms of its own growth, in terms of its product, in terms of expansion, collaboration, and so on. And the employees have their own set of goals, like for their personal growth, their promotion, their reward recognition, health benefits, kind of more responsibility, kind of new projects, kind of new trainings, whatsoever. So the thing is, when the employees goals, personal goals, intersect with the goals of an organization, the intersecting part is the common part, which is the common goal. Now the common goals are the goals which have to be smart. See, the goal which you are setting has to be specific. It cannot be vague. It has to be like, what are we trying to achieve through this project, or what are we trying to achieve through this process, what are we trying to achieve through this training. See, this goal setting is something that cannot be vague, that cannot be just an assumption. It has to be very specific as to, upon completion of this project, what are we going to achieve, right? Measurable. See, anything which is measurable, you can compare, like how much has been achieved, how much has to be done, or how much has been contributed. So that makes that goal, that makes that objective very, very measurable, in the sense like, you are always reminded as to, okay, I need to reach to let's say a mark of 80%, whereas we are in 65%. So now we have to plan accordingly. We have to achieve this gap of 15%, and how can we do it? See, the first thing is, when your goals are specific, it gives you that idea as to, upon completion of the project, what are we going to achieve. First thing is that. Second thing is measurable. When the goals are measurable, you understand that with this kind of improvement, this kind of results can be increased. So a goal is measurable, and it has to be achievable. I mean, you cannot be like it's something like that. If your turnover is like, let's say of a company is $1,000. Let's say, just an example. It cannot be like 50,000 immediately. So the jump that you're doing, it has to be planned. It's not that it cannot be achieved, but the thing is, it has to be understood by the goal setting, which has to be have a specific target, and it should be measurable as to, okay, from this to this, if we do this in the roadmap of goal setting, then we can achieve this much percentage. So that is called the measurable part. Achievable, something which is completely impossible or inhuman. I mean, I understand, there are histories of impossible being achieved, but the thing is, then you have to understand the various stages that you have to go through. When you have thought about those, none of the goal is non-attainable. Every goal is attainable, but the thing is, you have to understand that it should be achievable. How do you understand? Is by analyzing the kind of resource that you have, the kind of understanding of the goal that you have, the kind of measurable factors that you are considering about the goal, the kind of monitoring that is going to happen, and so on, right? And then it again has to be, the goal has to be time bound. Like, it cannot be like, okay, we plan to increase our revenue by 50%. Now that is a very vague goal. When you say like we are planning to increase, we have plans to increase our revenue by 50% by the next quarter, of 2020, or like let's say specifically by a month, like by the month of October of 2020. Then you set a deadline. When a deadline is set, the human brain is such that it has a kind of understanding of the urgency. It starts calculating what needs to be done. It breaks down the whole assignment. It breaks down the whole functionality. It breaks down the whole team into smaller assignments, into smaller time chunks, that I call them. And when this complete thing is being accumulated, you can see that the result is coming in the month of September. So if we have to achieve the result in month of September, this is how every month we have to achieve smaller goals. So that is breaking the goal into smaller chunks, because if you are planning to jump from A to Z, it's not possible. The main thing is you need to break down the whole project into such a way that you are taking steps to jump from A to B, B to C, C to D, and so on. And when that happens, those goals are specific, measurable, achievable, and time bound. Without the deadline being fixed, nobody has any idea as to by when this project has to be done, by when this project needs to be, that is the reason why we have service level agreements. We have parameters in place by which you have to deliver the project, so on. Because unless you are setting a deadline, it cannot be achieved by anybody. Now after the goal setting comes the part like when you are planning about the goal, to achieve that as a team lead, as a director, or as an organization head, you need to understand like this goal is to be worked upon. So how we will do it? So in goal setting, we did like what needs to be done, what needs to be achieved, and in the planning part, we are going to understand that how we are going to do it. How are we going to align the skill sets? How are we going to assign the team members as per their own skill sets, as per their present workload, as per their understanding? Because many a times, in today's world, we have to handle multiple projects in one go. So we need to understand as a team lead, as a manager, as a director, like what are the kind of resource available with me presently, how much this resource can allocate his time, because he's already working on 2, 3, or 4 projects. So how much time he can allocate for this particular project, and how good that contribution of the time is going to be in alignment with the deadline of the organization. See, there might be a wonderful designer or code writer who can do wonderful job, but the thing is he might be working on 5 or 6 projects by that time, and if burdened with another project, he might be able to give some time, but the kind of time that he will be giving will be much lesser, because he already is working on some priority cases. So by that time he might be able to contribute in such a manner where if the project has a deadline of the next year, January or February, he can be very contributive. But when you have a project which has to be made, or a deadline which has to be made in the month of September, including that kind of resource in this project is going to be a bit disastrous. So the thing is, planning is what needs to be done as to aligning it. Like as one of my mentor always used to say, if you fail to plan, you actually plan to fail. That is a wonderful thing that I remember still now. He always mentioned, like, Sanjay, today if you are failing to plan, trust me, you have all the plans to fail in this project. So please take out time to plan your project, how to do it, what are the kind of resources you need, what are the kind of support you need, what are the kind of contributions you need, like the list of skill sets that you have. You might be eager to work on project, you might be eager to work on that process and the development and everything, but the thing is, you cannot be doing everything all by yourself. You need to understand, as a department head or as a team head, what are the kind of resources which are available with you, because those are the resources whose contribution and cumulative effort will help you in achieving success for that project. So you need to plan accordingly. You need to plan according to the skill sets available, according to the times which the skill sets can allocate. And also you need to understand one thing: planning also means understanding the limitations. So if you have a limitation as to you're not understanding the project, many a times we are assuming a lot of things in terms of like when the projects are similar in nature, we are in a habit of assuming, okay, that is how the project is, I know everything. No, it doesn't work that way, because every client is different. Every client's expectation from, no matter even the project appears or sounds similar, the end result as expected by the client might be very very different. I mean, and as I always mention, one size does not fit all. So be very careful as to understanding the client's requirement accordingly. And when you find there is a gap in between your understanding or your deliverables or your resource reach to the resources, you need to actually mention it to the next level of senior people in the management, and you need to ask for help. That is also planning, like these are the things that we have worked upon, and this is the gap that I'm not able to fill it up, I'm seeking your advice. If you do not do that prior to working on the project, what will happen is that gap will volley in, and it will snowball as a big impact. And one fine day you will find the whole project is done with a hollow model in mind. The whole project is there, but when that point is not made, the whole project can crumble any point of time. Let's say, just a small example, you are finding that you have you have a shortage of, let's say, small example, you have a shortage of hard drives in your access, and you work on project, and you save the project on some place, you do not take a backup and so on. And one fine day that backup blows off, it gets deleted, or some accidental incidents happens. Now what happens is the whole project is lost, the whole effort is lost. It would have been much better if you would have asked for help from the IT department about installation of new hard drives, which has much more memory. Then you can allocate an auto backup with the auto backup software, so that every day that work is being done, it is automatically backed up. Now when you didn't plan that, you actually couldn't look into the possibilities of failure of a successful project. Everybody puts up an effort, you put up an effort, and on the day of presentation you suddenly find the whole project being corrupt because you don't have a backup. Now that kind of thing comes under planning part. And the last last point to consider when you are working on a project, and see, the thing is, you need to keep on looking back at the roadmap. The roadmap is one which you have framed along with the consultants, along with your seniors, along with your team members, as to, it's called the breaking into small chunks. The whole project, if you have to achieve it in the month of September, obviously you will have to break it per week, per day, and per month. Now this is a roadmap wherein you put small assignments and a chunk of assignments, and when these are all cumulated in the month of September, the whole project comes out as a whole project only. But the thing is, many a times we have seen that in absence of a roadmap, the managers, the directors, or the leaders of an organization loses focus, because they are driven into the project so much, they are deep rooted in the project so much, that many a times they start assuming or taking things the way, or doing things the way they have done in previous projects. And as I mentioned, one size does not fit all. So what has worked for the client X will certainly not work for client Y. You need to understand that. How do you ensure that you stick on to what needs to be done is by looking at the roadmap. That roadmap is it's almost like the compass which shows the direction you have to go. Without looking back at the roadmap, you have 100% chance of losing track of focus of the objective with which even the project started. You will lose the focus as to why these particular skill sets were involved, and you will not be able to contribute 100% when you do not know why a certain resource was assigned this job or what needs to be done. So the thing is, the whole planning, the whole smart goal planning and goal setting and the planning, all this part, it this goal setting and the planning part makes the roadmap for the directors, for the heads or the leaders of the organization to take the project to the next level, to a successful stage. Now, constantly looking back at the roadmap will keep you on track with the path to follow. When you follow that path constantly, you are focused. When you are focused, your team members are focused, and when you and your team members are focused, they are working more smartly, they are less confused, they are feeling more contributive, and they know that what needs to be done in the coming days and what has been done so far. So nobody has to go back here here and there and check or come and talk to you about that. So the thing is, everybody is aware of what is the status of the project, what needs to be done, what was planned, and how far have we achieved it. So when that is the place, see, that kind of leaders or that kind of managers not only efficiently sets the goal, executes the plan, and actively achieves the goal. Not only that, but they actually evolve as better leaders, better employees, and better contributing factors for the organization, ensuring personal and organizational growth, which are both intersected, which are both proportionally, directly proportional to each other. The growth of the organization ensures the growth of the employee, and when the employee feels their growth is being taken care of, they are more contributive, and the mindset is such that let us take the organization ahead, because along with all the kind of advancement or the growth of the organization, all the employees are benefited, so I'll be benefited. So my goal is also taken care of when I take care of the organization goal. So see, that is the main thing. So if you are an active person, understand one thing, understand that what needs to be done, how it needs to be done, and constantly look at the roadmap as to how and what needs to be done, because many a times we lose focus, we lose our understanding of what is the purpose with which this project even in the God's name even started. So constantly look at the roadmap, keep yourself in alignment to the team's skill sets along with the kind of roadmap that is being designed, and you can contribute much effortlessly. You will be exhausted less, you will have mental peace, and you will be in control of the project rather than project controlling you, driving you like crazy, working late hours, and it's running into a chance of failing with you exhausted, your team member exhausted, nothing working in place. So with these three factors, goal setting, planning, and working on the result, by constantly looking on the roadmap, you can ensure any project assigned, any department you handle, or any organization that you're heading to the path of success. Absolutely successful projects happens in this way only, and you can ensure your and your employees and your organization's growth in this way. So with that note today, try to be active, try to be busy. As in economics, it mentions that what is business is the state of business is business, but I beg to differ. Just being busy does not mean you're productive. So be active, be focused, and be productive. With that note today, I sign off, and let me again welcome you back to the Career Counseling Online Facebook page, which we have a lot of write-ups going up, a lot of videos are being posted, a lot of information exchange is happening, and you are most welcome to join our LinkedIn group, which is Career Counseling Online. And please do visit our website, which is careercounselingonline.co.in. And in case you are facing any stress or any problem with your professional life or work-life balance, do not hesitate to write to me at careercounselingonline@gmail.com or info@careercounselingonline.co.in. With all that note and good wishes, I sign off today from this morning vibe session. This is Sanjay here, wishing you a great weekend ahead. Take care, take rest, and stay at home. Be safe, be positive. Okay? Learn, contribute, and evolve. With that note today, have a wonderful weekend, guys. Take care.